The desert didn't end. It just changed color. 3 months after the storm, the horizon was no longer mud and rain. It was dust, heat, and silence. Lieutenant Kara Hale stood at the edge of a forgotten airfield, her reflection warping in the heat mirage. The medal they gave her still sat unopened in a locker somewhere. She didn't need a medal. She needed answers. The ambush that nearly killed her team hadn't been random. It was precise, coordinated, timed to the second. And that meant someone, somewhere, had fed the enemy their position. Now she was part of a covert task unit operating under one name: Ghost Protocol. Unofficial, unacknowledged, unforgiven. They called her Specter of the Storm, and the storm was coming back. The briefing room was buried under an abandoned radar facility. Dim lights, silent screens. The mission was simple on paper: infiltrate a black site data hub in the northern desert and recover proof of internal leaks. Names, signals, routes. But nothing simple ever stayed that way. Sergeant Rhodes sat across from her, the same scar catching the light. "You really think this is worth risking everything?" She loaded her sidearm with mechanical calm. "If we don't, someone else will die because of it." Rhodes nodded. "You know they'll erase us if this goes wrong." She gave the faintest smile. "Then we make sure it doesn't." The convoy rolled out at dusk. 3 vehicles disguised as civilian transports, engines muffled, lights off. The desert swallowed them whole. Hours later, they reached the compound. A forgotten oil refinery turned covert comm station. Rusted tanks, collapsed towers, and the faint pulse of infrared sensors sweeping across the sand. The kind of place ghosts disappear into. Kara moved first, crouched low beneath the shattered pipeline. Her gloved hand brushed sand from a tripwire barely visible under the moonlight. "Old school," she muttered, "but deadly." Rhodes followed close, scanning the rooftops. "Movement, north wall. 2 guards." "Copy." Her rifle rose with surgical precision. 2 silent shots, 2 bodies down. Not heroics, just necessity. They slipped through the service corridor, walls peeling, air thick with dust and static. The deeper they went, the more wrong it felt. The hum of machinery below ground, the faint smell of ozone and blood. Finally, the data room, a server core glowing faint blue in the dark. She plugged in the extraction drive, the hum of encryption filling the silence. Lines of data streamed across the monitor, coordinates, radio codes, and then a name. Steele. Rhodes froze. "General Marcus Steele?" She didn't answer. She didn't have to. The same general who had doubted her. The same man who'd sent them into that kill zone. Before she could pull the drive, alarms blared, high-pitched, mechanical, merciless. Red lights flooded the room. "They knew we were coming," Rhodes shouted. Kara yanked the drive, slinging her rifle. "Then we give them a show." The first wave hit hard. Tactical precision, black-clad soldiers, no insignia. They weren't local militia. They were professionals. Bullets ripped through steel and sand alike. Kara dove behind a console, returning fire in controlled bursts. The air turned to thunder. Sparks flew from the server racks as rounds tore through them. Rhodes grabbed her shoulder. "We're surrounded," she tapped her earpiece. "Ghost 1 to Specter, extraction route Delta." Static. Then, a single voice through the noise. "Negative. You're off the grid. Closest evac is 30 clicks." "Then we make our own exit," she muttered. She pointed toward a maintenance shaft behind the control bay. "That leads to the drainage tunnel. Move." They sprinted under fire, rounds chewing through metal at their heels. Kara threw herself sideways, firing blind to cover Rhodes's run. One shot hit her arm, searing pain, but she didn't slow. At the shaft she turned, covering the last few meters as Rhodes climbed down. "Go," she yelled. "What about you?" "I'll be right behind." But when she turned back toward the corridor, more shadows were closing in. Too many. Too fast. She tossed the data drive into the shaft. "Keep it safe, Sergeant." Kara dash. She slammed the hatch shut, sealing him below. The last thing Rhodes heard before static consumed his radio was her voice. Calm, steady, unshaken. "Tell command the storm isn't over." Then came the explosion. The entire compound went up, a mushroom of fire tearing the night apart. The shockwave rolled for miles, lighting the desert sky like dawn. 2 days later, rescue teams found Rhodes half dead in the dunes, clutching the data drive. They never found her body. Official reports said Lieutenant Kara Hale was missing in action. But among the shadow networks, whispers began to spread. Encrypted channels, black sites, special ops forums. She wasn't gone. She'd gone dark. Specter of the Storm had gone underground. And this time, she wasn't fighting for survival. She was hunting.